Hello and welcome to Insight. Today, we bring to you a very exciting episode straight from Kashmir. I interview Mr. Usman Majid, a militant turned Ikhwani turned politician. Today, we aim in this candid discussion to find out more about the peak of terrorism in Kashmir and what drove him to cross ideological boundaries during that time. Let's discuss. Welcome to Insight, Mr. Majid. It is such a privilege to have you with us today. I wanted to begin this conversation by asking you for a few details of the experiences that you've had. You've clearly seen terrorism in this region at its peak in the 90s. Could you explain to us how it was?
First of all, I want to tell you, successive governments are responsible for all this which has taken place, which blasted in '89. I can say there were, a common man can create a mistake and blunders were created. For the blunders, we have to always pay the cost. And still we are paying the cost for the blunders from our side. I will not blame it to first Pakistan. No doubt they are totally involved, they are totally responsible. They took advantage of it. We have seen 1947 when the Pakistan sent raiders, they were regulars of Pakistan army. They were defeated by Kashmiris. Hamlavar Khabardar, Hum Kashmiri hain tayar. They did not allow them to land here the way they sold them for 2 rupees. This was the thinking. They sold them to the forces, they sold them to the police. And when the army landed there, and it was only the wonderful support of people of Kashmir that they were defeated and raiders went. Most of them were killed and others went back. That was the thinking in Kashmir. What happened? At that time they want to kill Kashmiri Pandits because that was their design since the beginning. What happened to them? We Kashmiri people, Kashmiri Muslims, they made the guns out of the woods, and this were nakli, toy type, and they painted it like a gun, and they went and and guard the houses of our Kashmiri brothers, and showing that Hamlavar Khabardar, Hum Kashmiri hain tayar. So that is what has happened to us, that ultimately we went, no, let's decide that our rights are not safeguarded properly here. Let's go and pick up the arms and decide about that. India is not near to the heart, and it's Pakistan, which is very near to our hearts now. Our own leaders plus the leaders of national leaders, those who are at the helm of affairs in Delhi. You can see right from 1953, you can see why Nehru went to the UNO. It was all done in the friendship, nothing else. We know the weakness of Mr. Nehru, and he made Lord Mountbatten as the Governor General of India, well as our counterpart, whom I consider as my enemy country. That's a neighbor, unfortunately, what can you do? They appointed the local man as the Governor General of Pakistan. That was a different friendship. Friendship had played the role. And then, since then, we are paying the cost for this. Why Sheikh Abdullah was dismissed? Because Americans at that time, they want to create the way they created Pakistan. Lord Henderson, he was the man responsible. The task was given to him. He started this thing. Let's create Kashmir, and Sheikh Abdullah ko itna banaya कि you have a state, you will get a state, you are the prime minister, you are the popular leader, and ultimately he was dismissed. Then Bakshi came. Bakshi's fate, after doing such a tremendous job, he too was dismissed. He became the victim of the Kamraj plan. But technically that did not hit him. But it was a Kamraj plan. He was dismissed. Sadiq came, and the first erosion took place. That was erosion of Article 370, from Prime Minister to Chief Minister, from President to Sadri Riyasat to Governor. That happened. But people, they were, I don't think people reacted that time. It was plebiscite front, which was headed by Mr. Beg. He started this. Gandhi Nali ke Keede, those who were nationalists, Gandhi Nali ke Keede. Then Tarki Mawalat means social boycott to the nationalists, Congress people, because Sadiq was chief minister of Congress. They started this hate campaign in Kashmir, and slowly it was brought here in the minds of the people, to start polluting the minds of the people. People were by and large, they were illiterates. They did not understand the game. While they have always, at the initial stage, they always rejected two-nation theory. They prefer India. They love India. They took I will tell you, there are many examples what Kashmir is done when when Pakistan came into existence and India came into existence. India was already existing. So many examples are there. You don't have, if we discuss these things, it will take a lot of time. So cutting the long story into short, and then I don't understand what happened in 75. Still, I don't understand why this has happened. Sheikh Saab was the only man. He was not a member of the Congress. He was elected as leader of the legislative party, whereas the majority belongs to the Congress. He became the chief, and that started. Chon Izzat, Myon Izzat. Aapka Izzat, Mera Izzat. Your dignity, my dignity. Your honor, my honor. The 370. And it started fanaticism. Slowly, it start attacking the minds of the people. And then Farooq Abdullah was painted as, these photographs were shown as the JKLF man. He was that time in London. JKLF, his photographs with Mr. Amanullah Khan, Sajjad's father-in-law, Mr. Sajjad's father-in-law. Photographs with him, they were shown, Chon Desh, Myon Desh, Aapka Desh, Mera Desh, Kashmir Desh, Kashmir Desh. These were the slogans raised by the National Conference. Every time they had played the dirty role. They did not bring the resolution in 37 when then Sheikh Abdullah was fighting against this Kuwait Kashmir, the Maharajas, which is called, famously known as Kuwait Kashmir. He did not bring the resolution when his 6 members were in the Constituent Assembly of India. That time he was not bothered about Article 370. Then they start beat the drums at the Chon Izzat, Myon Izzat. And ultimately what happened I must blame that time Prime Minister Swargya Morarji Desai also. He gave a lot of rope to the National Conference. They rigged the election 77 like anything. And then what the journey started, people, my generation of people started, yes, our democratic rights are being taken away. We don't have a democracy here. India is not in our favor. It's not in the interest of Kashmiri Muslim. And 87 was the best example. 87 election was that was the last nail in that coffin. It started, and Kashmiris went. Pakistanis got a strong, invisible presence in Kashmir by introducing militants. A lot of people in 1,001 across, including we. When we saw, I was a vice chairman of United Jihad Council, United Crusade Council. There, I questioned chief of the ISI. I told him, what's your policy? How are you going to liberate Kashmir from Indians? He said, he was so angry. He shouted on me, who the hell are you to ask this question? Your job is to fight, and we know how to liberate Kashmir from Indians. I told him, no sir, I am the ambassador of my people here in Pakistan. I am talking of 93. I am the ambassador of people of my Kashmir here. I am not your soldier. I am volunteer to it. Yes, we are dying. I know my problems. I know I am away from my family, what my people are facing there in Kashmir. He said, no, you want to know, after the protest for 2.5 hours, ultimately they told, come please, let's reconcile now. My question was same. He said, prick and bleed. Don't prick it so deep. In retaliation, India is going to attack. I told him, it means, sir, it's a cobra coming to India, and you have given us needle. We are pricking it every day, and it turns its head towards Kashmir. Eats 4, 5, 6, 7 people every day. This is not acceptable to us. For that, my brother was kidnapped here, and he paid a huge ransom amount, and chairman's brother-in-law was killed. They told us, say sorry to the general. We left Kashmir. A friend of mine, he was in ISI. He was I must say, one of the founders of the militancy which took place in Kashmir. His name was Colonel Farooq. He told me, leave this place, otherwise they are going to kill you. I left. The day I left, I met Mr. Kuyum, Sardar Kuyum there. He treated me like my son. One day when there was a fight between him and Farooq Abdullah and Kansa Balaka, I told him, Sardar Sahab, what is the future of Kashmir? He said, you are the biggest fools on the globe. I was thinking Kashmiris are the wise lot on the globe, but you are dying, you don't know for what you are dying. Then I told him, what should I do? Go and save yourself and do something. It stuck me here. Go and do something for your people, save you. But you know, it is like mentioned on your underwear garments that Kashmir banega Pakistan. No, I have to sustain his Ziaul's regime. I sustained. You don't know, they were behind my life. I know how I have faced problems. How much problems I have faced here in POK. Anyway, so I came back when I saw the death and destruction is taking place in Kashmir. Mother has turned against daughter. Father has turned against son. One is enemy to the others, and our everything is getting destroyed. Our Kashmir is getting destroyed. So we decided, let's work on it. There is nothing in it. It's just an exploitation of our politicians, exploitation of greater conspiracy from world forces also, because it has remained always the hub of that thing. We worked against this. We formed, and initially we were this counterinsurgency, and it was not unsponsored. It was spontaneous for some time. Then we all assembled together and resolved this.
Ikhwan.
This was Ikhwan. I'm
And
talking
what-
of 1894.
1894.
Because I'm
is when
briefly
it
telling.
was put
Yeah,
together.
yeah. So
Who were your compatriots?
it was.
Other young people like yourself who had
yeah.
been disenchanted?
Yeah, young people. We all assembled together and fought against this. Let's have a resolve. We'll fight against this. We'll fight this terrorism. We'll defeat Pakistan here. Let's save this Kashmir, even if we sacrifice our lives. Nothing to do that. But we did it. We took the challenge very seriously. We did it, and then you have seen the change now. Kashmir was burning all over. Indians were thinking there in Delhi, we have lost Kashmir. Let's negotiate with them. They want anybody to come forward, do something politically, or to have some negotiations. But we did not. We went, without anything, understanding that this is wrong what we have done. We have wasted our time. We have wasted time of our people. And they are certainly the wasted class. They remained there. But the Kashmiri factor was out when we started this Ikhwan.
Who were the leading thought
It
leaders?
was Mr. Kokapare. We made him as the leader. He has not gone across. He was here. People came to kill him because he was a folk singer. He was not a militant. He was not involved in any kind of insurgency. He had no. But people came to kill him that you are a smuggler. He tried to save his life. I made him. He was my OGW, upper ground. Then he became. I told me, you become the leader.
And what were the kind of problems that you faced putting this group together? Because it couldn't happen easy.
It was so difficult to motivate people for it. But that time people were so fed up. People of Kashmir, they were so fed up. Ikhwanis, 70% of the Ikhwanis were locals. They were not militants. Only 30% of them were militants or OGWs. 70% of the people joined with us, and a restoration of peace and democracy was possible. We took the challenge when Benazir said, let me see, nobody is going to vote in Kashmir. We said, let's see. And it was announced, we'll put a coffin in Lal Chowk and let's see who is going to vote, and that he will be digged in that. So we said, no, people will come and vote. They voted. And it was a parliament election in April 1996. So for that we worked hard. Our comrades got killed. We were on our own mostly.
Were you socially boycotted as well?
No, it was, initially it was. There was a lot of hate campaign against us. It was absolutely done by our media. Local media was already, they were sold to the Pakistan. Most of them were on the payroll of Pakistanis. It was RMC, Refugee Management Cell, was paying them the money. On that name, on that platform, they were getting money. I must say, 90% of the newspapers and these journals and others were getting money from Pakistan. You know its record, and it got exposed ultimately, because I have seen the newspapers. You know, when the Punjab militancy got introduced, there were around about 40 to 70. I don't exactly remember the number. Newspapers and journals, other weeklies, and they were existing. No, there were 700. When the militancy was introduced at the end of the year, there were only 70 were left. In Kashmir, it was 40, and at the end of the day, if you will say today, there are hundreds, maybe it might have crossed thousands. That is because the money was being pumped from that side. They also, and the national media also, mainstream political parties, Hurriyat was already there, Pakistan was, everyone campaigned against us, because we were simultaneously, we were doing politics also. We started, it's a drive, militancy drive is not, it's end to it. There is no space for Ikhwan in a democratic country as in holding an illegal gun. So we launched a political party. We said it's the biggest challenge is to fight politically. Let's fight it politically. We fought parliamentary election, we got votes in lakhs. We fought assembly elections after April 96 were parliamentary elections, and in October same year, it was assembly elections were held. We got one seat, Mr. Kokapare. Courtesy, that I am not going to tell you on the camera, because again we were at the fall. They did not trust us.
But Kokapare was finally assassinated.
He was assassinated. It's to some extent, I blame government for that. the government of Jammu and Kashmir. They did not provide him security. He was given a BP Sting vehicle, BP car that was out of order, that was not roadworthy. He complained many times, please change my vehicle, I will get killed. And ultimately that happened. He went in a plain BP Gypsy, they shot him here. Only blood, tuck here, that's all. And that is the end of the era.
And what was the response to his death?
It was response from that time I was minister. It was 2003, I think so. It was Mufti's government. I blame people here, politicians here for that. If most of the Ikhwanis were killed in that regime, most of the commanders, because they could not hold the hand. You know, people in Delhi, those who have a strong lobby, friendship has always played a role in J&K affairs. That's very unfortunate. It has always played, it's already playing. It starts from Mr. Nehru and it is still going on. And I am sure, I doubt the present regime also. They are also trying to, they don't make the comparison that Indian is an Indian, one who is not an, he is an ordinary. And no place should be for the grey. They don't do the same approach. We have seen the worst 3-4 years of their government between BJP and PDP. The agenda of alliance was there. For what? When Mufti Sahib, a tall leader, said, I thank militants, terrorists, I thank Pakistan, I thank Hurriyat Conference for supporting the holding these elections. Where were the people of Jammu and Kashmir? Where were those security personnel who sacrificed during these elections? So, by design this was being done, and we were the enemies number one. They were criticizing us, not the terrorists, not the Hurriyat Conference. It was easy to criticize us, to make us villains in the society.
How did your families deal with this
My
part
family,
of the
yeah, initially my brother was also killed. He was a social worker, he was killed by terrorists. We have many of us, those who live, their relatives were killed. So it was a problem, there is no doubt, but by and large we have been accepted by the people. I became MLA a couple of times. I became a minister. I must say I have a strong hold in my constituency. What is the reason for that? Something is there which I have done for the people. Something they have found in me that, Usman, okay, we trust you. They trust me because I am not selling dreams. I am not a dream merchant. I am telling the truth. We have to align with the country. It's the best in the interest of Kashmiri Muslims, this country. We must compare the world that the only country where Muslims are safe, that's India. So that's what if you see my speech, if you will see in the assembly, if you will see outside, if you see my speech in public rallies, I am publicly saying these things. Why people are accepting me? Unfortunately, they are not giving space to this thought. It's our own people.
Mr. Majid, people also say that Ikhwan was sponsored by Indian agencies. What would you say to that?
No, even we worked with the army, we worked with the police, no doubt. For some time, I told you it was spontaneous. Then we worked with the army. It was not very easy for us to hold all these things, to continue this, because we were fighting against Pakistan. It was not battle against Kashmiris. It was fight against Pakistan and their terrorists. Because when we started this drive, initially it was the Kashmiri who were involved. After that, when they thought the Kashmiris are out of it, they are tired, they are sick of militancy, they sent the mercenaries here. Then we were fighting Pakistanis directly. Then we were fighting people, they were from other countries also. Those fanatic type people, religious minded people, more religious. We fought that. That is why we were giving a lot of information to the people, to the security force, particularly the army. We were giving the information. We were their eyes and ears. That's why the situation is now like it is. Otherwise, our buffaloes and our cows would have been in niqab, in burqa. Our ladies would have been illiterates. It would have been worse than Afghanistan in Kashmir if we would not have started that drive. There is a space for everyone now. People are coming to Kashmir. Kashmir is seen as it is a part of country now. It is our blood which we have thrown on the roads. But this was not taken positively. That's why I have a lot of regrets. Whatever I did on my own. I know there were critics, there were more enemies than the friends, but I stood there, I told them I can do it. I will show you where we are in the country, and we are for the country. And I will continue, it is my mission for me. I will continue to my last breath.
Jammu and Kashmir has enjoyed a special status, a special political status. status, a special financial status. Do you think that helped protect the people of Jammu and Kashmir? Do you think, because critics would say that it created a sense of otherness?
Oh, yes, I totally agree with you. You know, it was just taken advantage for their misdeeds, for the misgovernance, and for their comfort when they were out of power. They used to use these slogans. Otherwise, it was transitory. What people came to know. Those who were illiterate, they would never know. Article 370 was a temporary in the Constitution of India, and it was transitory. They don't know. When this was abrogated by the present government, then people came to know what our politicians have done. Why they wasted time when it was, because they had their own friendly governments in the center. They could have made it this permanent if they were willing. It was just a political issue for them, for their chair, because nobody wants to become accountable here. Even people want the militancy, terrorism should remain here for 200 years. Politicians, those regional forces, the Hurriyat Conference, others, because it pays them. It makes them it doesn't make them accountable. So why they will not use these slogans? I think people have by and large accepted it. So it's not Usman as an individual was saying, you have seen it. They were saying that bloodshed will take hell, Kashmir will become hell. You will see only blood and blood, but Kashmiris are sensible. They sensibly behave. None died and no violence took place, no stone pelting.
Does that make you very positive about?
Certainly. I mean, say what has happened, I'm sorry, people of Kashmir should have been taken into confidence. But we cannot stop the way. We cannot stop them, but we have to go ahead. We have to find the way, we have to shape our future. We have to shape our generations. What we have lost in the last 7 decades. So, it's in the Supreme Court, why should I talk more about it? It's tomorrow Supreme Court, if he grants it back, okay, we'll welcome it. If they say no, it's gone, it's gone. But what BJP has done, Congress had done the same in the past. There was Danda and Janda left in Article 370. It was full of erosions. Danda and Janda ke bagar 370 kuch tha hi nahi ab usme. There was some 35, for that we went to the Prime Minister as apni party. This domicile was given to us. That replaced, to some extent, that thing, which is the right which we were enjoying here. And then jobs, locals, we were involved, 80% jobs will be for the locals. We want 100% should be, it's a poor state. It's poor in the sense because we don't have avenues like the rest of country, other states of country has. So, and then it's rights on the agricultural land. They were taking care to some extent. I am sure in the coming days, Government of India will think positively again, so that we may think of a very, very bright future and a positive future, and the people of Kashmir will say, yes, we are Indians. I will hold this flag. Bharat Mata ki jai. Hindustan Zindabad. I wish, but I am telling you one thing. I am very fed up with this governor's rule for the last 3 years. Nothing has moved. It's only in media, only in books. Nothing has moved to the ground. We have wasted 3 years. By abrogating Article 370, I sometimes consider it as a very small thing which we have done. There are many more big things which have to be done. That is here. The bug has to be taken out. Why a Kashmiri will not say Hindustan Mera Hai? If we lay the foundation today, it will be like this after 10 years, 15 years, and you will see Kashmir will not be, and it will be difficult for Pakistan to send any intruder here. He will be killed at the border. That situation we have to create in Kashmir.
So how do you view, a few days ago you would have known about this, the notification of rights to spouses as well for domiciles. How do you view that notification?
Earlier our ladies were not getting our daughters, they were not getting the rights, those who were getting married. You are talking about that?
Talking about the spouses को भी अभी rights दिए हैं ना?
Ladies
and उनके husbands को भी.
Domicile.
हाँ, domicile.
वो तो है, it's a welcome step. देखो, something we have got out of after 35A. It's not a constitutional obligation. नहीं है. It was not a constitutional obligation for Government of India to grant us this domicile. When we met Prime Minister, we told you should make it 22 years, 25 years. They said, you will see what is the period to any area where this domicile is. If it is 10 years, we'll make it 15 years. If it is 15 years, we'll make it 1 year more. But it was 15 years were granted to us, and it's a state subject. tomorrow if assembly is, we are holding assembly election, they can extend it 2 years, 3 years. Certainly, if they want. But I think it's a part of the country. Come and live here. Why not? When I live in Delhi, equally when I live in Sri Lanka, why a Sri Lankan cannot come and live here?
What do you think is the future of the legacy marginalized communities, the minorities that have faced a lot of backlash in Kashmir and have moved out of Kashmir? Do you see any space for them? Do you see the average Kashmiri welcoming them?
It's a big question mark to me. I was thinking the government of the day will certainly do a lot of things in that direction, because it's, for a Kashmiri, it's a big issue for me. Return of my brothers to this place. I think I am incomplete. It is their land. They have rewrite on this land. Why successive governments have not taken any decision in this direction? It's an issue. It could not be issue in the rest of the country, but in Kashmir it's an issue. They have the right, but what is government doing?
But do you think we will have to assure them of their safety first before the government does anything, or the government will have to make its move?
It's not only, safety, which is the safety for my people. It's the Kashmiri Muslim. It's not the security personal. That's the safety of my Kashmiri brother. If he comes, if I go and get him here, situation has to be made like that. Where governments, we have to start it from the constituency levels. It is the initiative should have been taken by the government of India and the present governor administration. They did not. We want they should come back. They are coming whenever they are visiting, we welcome them. We have to. There is no second option about that. It's unfortunate the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits took place. By and large, society remained silent. It was under the influence of the gun, because everything, 19th January 1990, whole Kashmiri population was on the roads against India. That time, if the Kashmiri Muslims, it would have been in their menu, it would have been in their agenda, if it would have been in their minds, they would have wiped out them within 5 minutes, 2 lakh Pandits, Kashmiri Pandits. But they did not. Yes, the people, those who were having vested interest, they raised the wrong slogans. Kashmir banega Pakistan, batiyon rusti batosan. Bato rusti batiyon san. Yani Kashmir banega Pakistan without Kashmiri Panditani. With Kashmiri Panditani, without Kashmiri Pandits. That was, when the honor is at stake, certainly you have to decide that time. You can take any step, any extreme step. So we feel very sorry they left this place. But we have seen the past and we have seen 89. We hands up kya? We said hands up, no, we cannot do anything because we are also in trouble. You know how many thousands of Kashmiri Muslims got killed here? In the encounters, even the nationalist forces. We fought it here. Unfortunately, they left. I wish they could have stayed with us, but situation was not in their favor.
Would you call it a genocide?
Dozens of Kashmiri Pandits were killed initially to harass, because when Pakistan attacked every Indian identity here in 89, it was clubs, it was bars, it was salons, it was beauty parlors, it was the cinema, it was identity, those things of Indian identity, including Kashmiri Pandits. Dozens of Kashmiri Pandits were initially killed.
So all these factors that you mentioned, would you say that there was almost a soft Sharia-like situation in the state?
It was Pakistan tried to make us, they want us that they should become the Muslims like Talibans. They should become Muslims what they Muslims they have there. That's why the Pakistan state is failure. They sustain in the name of religion. Wherever though that was created in the name of religion. And that's why wherever we have seen things or communities on the base of any religion, that is the failure is there definitely, because not based on the country or any concrete thing where it will have in long term it can sustain.
So do you think now with the withdrawal of the US in Afghanistan and the rise of Taliban, that may become a catalyst for terrorism maybe to increase or have an impact?
I have a little bit of doubt about that, but they are the people who will never remain silent. Maar kaar to unko chahiye. They need a bahana to kill each others. That will continue there. That's the history of the Afghans. They kill their guests in their houses. They feel proud of that one neighbor has killed 5 guests, another neighbor has killed 5 guests. So that is the history, they will not remain. But equally the forces which are against my country, which are against the Kashmiriyat, which are against Indian Army, which are against the people, will feel encouraged. We have to keep a close vigil. We have to be careful.
So, what do you think is now the future of Jammu and Kashmir? We've still seen people like Burhan Wani being, made into heroes. Do you think that the youth is disenchanted by this narrative, or do you think that they still support it?
No, I mean, say now he is not a hero. He was hero when the article was existing, because they were mainstream politicians responsible to make them heroes. I told you the example of Mr. Mufti, when he said these words in front of the Prime Minister. What would have you expected from the generations, coming generation, the young generations? Now it's not the case. They have understood, they are integrating, and people are leaving this place and going to the other states for the education. Things are entirely, we are equal now. You cannot challenge me, I cannot challenge you. This is what also we have to work. We have to do. That's what I'm talking to you. Many things we have missed, particularly in these 3 years, governor rule of 3 years.
Now you have a very successful political career. And in that note, would you tell us what your vision for the future is?
I mean, say first of all is we have to connect with the youth. We have to find the opportunities for the youth where we have to engage youth. That's very important. We cannot give them sarkari nokris. We have to provide opportunities for them where we can engage them. And development is important, which I have done in my constituency, in my capacity, whatever I can, out of friendship, out of this thing, whatever. Development is the only slogan through which we can bring the peace and prosperity here in this part of country. And then equally we have to work here on the bug, how to take this bug out. If this bug is out, I'm sure things will be very, very normal, and you will not see any difference between you and the people of Kashmir.
Well, on that note, we really hope to see that Naya Kashmir, and we hope to have you back on our show. Thank you for being extremely candid with us and shedding some light on what Kashmir can be.
Thank you. Thank you.
Terrorism has clearly taken many twists and turns in Kashmir and has had many phases. But what is clear by Mr. Majid's point of view is that this could not have happened without political patronage. Now, with the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, one can look forward to a better, safer and more hopeful Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you.